Ladies and gentlemen, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to Dale Center NASCAR betting here on YouTube. NASCAR betting preview for Las Vegas Motor Speedway, the Pennzoil 400 weekend. Last year, this race was won, dominated by Kyle Larson, and in the fall race in Las Vegas, Joey Logano sneaked one out with fuel mileage. Now, here's the deal. We're coming off one of our worst Sundays ever. Now, if you watched Dale Center last week, thank you for coming back. I probably helped you win something because it seems like a good bit of my followers who watched the program got Zane Smith top 10, which I'm an idiot and didn't bet. Josh Berry top 4, idiot, didn't bet. Maybe a couple other leans. I think those are the two main ones amongst all the terrible bets that I gave for the Cup Series on Sunday. We're still undefeated in Xfinity, and we've got work to do in trucks. Don't forget, we've had a bad start to the season in trucks. Parker Kligerman DQ screwed up everything for me because I had a bet on Hard Rock. Hard Rock acknowledges post-race inspection. Hopefully you guys are in a better position with your unit count to start the season than I am in the Craftsman Truck Series. But typically trucks have been a strong point for us. And since last year, this is the Corey Heim deal. This is the Corey Heim effect that has just messed me up since 2024. And we'll get into that here shortly. But first, be sure to join the Dale Club. I got a link in the description below. Join us over on Dub Club, giving out winning NASCAR bets all year long. We've teamed up for 2025 to provide you that, except for last Sunday at Phoenix. It was brutal. One of my worst betting cards of all time. It's all right. We're going to come back from it. I've been way, way worse in this position to start a season before and still ended up in the green. Overall, between everything, now after that horrific Sunday in Phoenix, we're about 10 units in the red. So what did we lose? 11 and a half last week? But overall, in Cup races, we're in the green. Xfinity, we're undefeated in the green. Our issues have been Cup qualifying and the Craftsman Truck Series. So I've got a full layout that I'll provide at the beginning of next week once we're done with Vegas, since we're having a triple header again for the first time since Atlanta a few weeks ago. So I'll provide you guys with more detailed analysis of how our bets have been to start the first 5 weeks of the season. Can't believe we're already at this point. But be sure to join the Dale Club if you want to see all the NASCAR bets with specific unit allocations. Because of how last Sunday went, I'm probably going to have a couple free cards this weekend. We'll post those on X, Instagram, and in the Dale Center NASCAR Discord, which is provided in a link below in the description as well. And one more thing, be sure to join our Grid Rival NASCAR season-long fantasy league and try the Pick'em game. Use promo code DALE to get a 100% deposit matching bonus up to $100. That link to join Grid Rival is in the description below. I swear if this webcam freezes one more time when I'm doing a little ad read, I'm going to fucking flip out. Now listen to me. Las Vegas, very different between trucks, Xfinity, and Cup, it seems like. Trucks seem to be a little more chaotic on this racetrack. Xfinity, long green flag runs, and then Cup, long green flag runs, and typically boring for one of our mile and a halves, especially relative to the chaos of Charlotte, Kansas, Texas. I like Las Vegas. I think a lot of people do, but you get more of a natural, nostalgic, traditional NASCAR Cup Series feel here, and with Xfinity as well. Now, with trucks, it's a different story. It's a sprint. That race is tonight. Hopefully, by the time you watch this, you still have a few hours left to get my pre-practice, pre-qualifying bets for the Craftsman Truck Series, which is where we are going to start. I said we're going to start. We've been going for 4 fucking minutes of me yapping. I've got a bunch of bets already. And maybe not a bunch, like 4 or 5 bets. And I want to talk about those with you guys and see kind of where we could lean, give you an idea where I would like to lean after practice and qualifying. It's a difficult slate because, as I mentioned earlier, kind of a little precursor to all this, the Corey Heim effect is brutal. When he didn't get a ride in Xfinity or Cup full-time and we knew he was coming back, immediately this is what I thought about. Looking at the sports books and seeing plus 185. This is on Canby, who just dropped odds this morning. Canby has not had odds all week, which is so bizarre for them when it comes to the Truck Series. Best line I've seen on Corey Heim is at FanDuel, plus 195. This sucks because in actuality, he's probably going to lead a bunch of laps. He's probably going to have the best truck. He's probably the best driver in the field, and he might win this race tonight. So that's unfortunate, but I'm going to leave the door open. I'm going to hope that after practice and qualifying, maybe we can get 2-1 or better, which it's like how Kyle Busch was when he would run these. And Kyle Busch still runs them, and you're probably not going to see plus 185 because of Corey Heim. It's crazy. It's even crazier that he hasn't won a championship. But let's talk about what we can do to kind of get around this. Hopefully you do subscribe to the Dale Club, because yesterday, day before, once all the books had uploaded odds, I gave out some bets. And Chandler Smith, I got at plus 625 on BetMGM. That ship has sailed. If you want to know where I lean on Chandler Smith before practice and qualifying, I don't want anything lower than 5-1. So if you can still find 5-1, 5.5-1 is available on BetMGM. I would take that. Remember, Chandler Smith, a lot of experience, a lot of wins in NASCAR between Xfinity and trucks, and he's back in the Truck Series due to funding issues. And I think it's necessary to do a little refreshing because we haven't raced to the Truck Series in about a month since Atlanta. Maybe a little less than a month, maybe more like 3.5 weeks or something. But Chandler Smith, 5.5-1, I think is a fine bet. I think he's going to run up front. Front row, you got to remember, with Zane Smith was dominant at these type of racetracks. You put Lane Riggs in the truck in 2024, had a very, very shaky season. And then at the very end, he started showing that speed. If you want to go with Lane Riggs as well, I didn't bet it. I still think I get concerned about Lane Riggs because of the mistakes. He's extremely mistake prone, but 12-1 for Lane Riggs is available on Canby, and 13-1 is available on BetMGM. I kind of stared at it. You know, he's a guy that could be he makes mistakes in qualifying, it seems like, constantly at some of these intermediate tracks, some of these technical race tracks, and they just have issues. Like, and we even saw this with Zane Smith. It would seem like they'd have issues where they'd have some kind of mechanical problem. Now you got to go to the rear. They're going to start from the rear. Don't be surprised if you see a Bob Pockers tweet Friday evening if Lane Riggs qualifies P6 that says, oh, they found an issue. They found a leak. They found something with a engine. I don't even know. I've seen so many different issues, in particular with Zane Smith when he was in the 38. Don't be surprised if you see a tweet that says Lane Riggs has to start from the back because of some fucking weird thing with front row. I feel like they're doing something to cheat their trucks up a little bit. And that's the equipment that Chandler Smith is in. The difference here is Chandler Smith has several years of good experience in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series and has been particularly good at this racetrack. Should have won here in 2023 in the Xfinity Series in the spring. Gave up the lead on the white flag, I think. Just cooked his tires too much. Austin Hill reeled those guys in. He was really good here last year with Joe Gibbs Racing. Led a bunch of laps, finished in the top 5, and he won here back in 2022. So when you look at Chandler Smith, he's done it before. And at this track in particular, he's been fantastic. So, you know, when I look at the experience, I look at the track resume between 2 different NASCAR National Series. Chandler Smith, you know, usually I don't like to bet these super big favorites leading into the weekend because you see at Las Vegas, especially on restarts, it's like a damn drafting track. iRacing mimics it super well. It's like a drafting track, and then they eventually kind of accordion out. My point here is it can get chaotic. We can see some wrecks. We can see some issues. Even here in the spring in 2024, we saw a good bit of parity with comers and goers, guys coming to the front, had a green flag pit stop to end it. Plenty of guys making mistakes, speeding on pit road. Kyle Busch did it. I think Ty Majeski did it after dominating. there's just a lot that happens in these Vegas races. I mean, I've seen some crazy shit over the years at Las Vegas in the Craftsman Truck Series, which is why, I kind of pointed out it's a lot different than Cup and Xfinity. Cup and Xfinity give you a long green flag feel nowadays. Kind of always have been, actually, when it comes to Vegas. Growing up, it was always kind of a boring track. Now it's kind of a track people like and enjoy because of the Gen 7, kind of where it shines is a track like Las Vegas, but you get a lot of green flag racing. Trucks may not be the case all the time. With all that being considered, I think if you want to bet a favorite before practice, before qualifying, take the co-favorite Chandler Smith, 5-1 or better. BetMGM is throwing that to us at 5.5-1 because you look at DraftKings, he's 4-1, Canby 4.5-1. Even Hard Rock, which I'm keeping an eye on, 4.5-1. So I like Chandler Smith. And then I'm going to stick with another co-favorite, if you will, Ty Majeski. I'm kind of surprised at this number. I kind of would think if I was a bookmaker, I'd have Heim at plus 150, plus 200. And then I'd probably have Smith and Majeski 7-1, 8-1 range. Ty Majeski, and he's had to have been bet this week. Ty Majeski had a dominant truck here last year at many of the 1.5 miles, had fantastic race trucks. I think one of them he ran out of fuel, maybe that was Kansas last fall, while leading on the white flag. Majeski has got the ability, via driver talent and team, to come out and fucking smoke the field, even with Corey Heim in it. My big concern with them would be, can we not screw up strategy? Can we make sure we're on the right sequence to not blow this race? I can't stand betting Majeski top 3. I can't stand betting him top 5. I can't stand betting him in head-to-head matchups because he's kind of like that Allgaier Truex persona of this series, which hopefully, if you like betting on Ty, hopefully after winning the championship, that will kind of go away a little bit. We've already seen with Justin Allgaier, that's not the case after what happened at Phoenix last week. So hopefully with Ty Majeski, a little bit of different story. We'll find out. But Ty Majeski, 10-1 outright, I think is a great bet. 9-1 on Canby, still 10-1 on 9-1 on Hard Rock, 10-1 on FanDuel. This has not moved. This is where I've got Ty Majeski 10-1 earlier in the week, a couple days ago, I guess, yesterday. Ty Majeski 10-1 is a great bet because unlike, Corey Heim, seems like those Tricon guys don't always qualify well, and then their long run speed is fantastic. I talked about Chandler Smith, front row, kind of with Lane Riggs. Seems like they have issues in qualifying, end up starting in the back of the field, always a leg down. Ty Majeski typically is the exact opposite. So if you want some potential CLV, I'd go with Ty Majeski, 10-1. This is something that could definitely close up. Rocky, what are you doing? Hey, get in here. The crew chief is sniffing around. Lay down. Come on. Need you up on the box. So I think Ty Majeski 10-1 is a great bet. Good voice crack. Now, lay down. Lay down. Thank you. Nope. Do it. Good boy. Okay. Thank you. Good job. So I like Ty Majeski, but my biggest emphasis play here tonight, I think we all got to bet on Caden Honeycutt. In the Nice, number 45 Chevy Silverado. Raja Caruth broke through and won this race last year. First win. Great moment. I think if you're going to have a replication of a moment like that, it's going to be Caden Honeycutt. I think this guy's talent is just off the charts. And, I love the experience in his crew chief, Phil Gold, who's come to similar tracks like this and had winning speed, primarily with Hocevar and Ross Chastain back when he was full-time. Phil Gold's been doing this for a long time. And Caden Honeycutt, I think, has the talent level to be that next Carson Hocevar, to be that next Ross Chastain. He's full-time now, and when you look at what he did on 1.5 miles last year, in limited experience, I want to pull this up because I don't want to misspeak on the specific stats, but constantly up front, running top 10, had a few issues. My one problem with Nice, because this is going to be a common question. I'm not going to assume, but a lot of times a common question would be, oh, he's in a head-to-head matchup against Tyler Ankrum, who I think is a complete slapdick, who's in a great truck. My problem with Nice is every now and then they have two problems that holds Nice back. One, horrible pit stops. I mean, just catastrophic pit stops. Do they not have the money to hire a better pit crew? I don't know. But that's one of the two problems. They will have catastrophic pit stops in important situations. That's my big concern. Number two is every now and then they just have like mechanical gremlins that put them back. Maybe a few times last year. I think maybe it was Nashville for Caden Honeycutt. One of these other tracks, they had a mechanical issue early, took them out. So when I look at Nice, they will bring race-winning trucks, typically with the 45. And I think tonight there is extremely strong potential for a race-winning truck. Qualify well, that 18-1 before green flag becomes 12-1. I would bet Caden Honeycutt. Rocky, stop it. Hey, stop chewing. Rocky, no, stop it. Hey, stop chewing. Stop it. Ah, hey, no, sir. Stop chewing. Stop it. No. I don't care. Stop it. Shh. Be a good boy. Stop it. Crew chief throwing a fit early today. When it comes to Caden Honeycutt, the 1.5 miles is where he succeeded last year, and that's typically where Nice wins their races. I think they won with Ross Chastain at Darlington, which was, you can call that an intermediate, but they were extremely lucky to win that race. But when you look at 1.5 miles, I'm going to pull this up now. Caden Honeycutt, P4 at Kansas, P7 at Charlotte, and I think Charlotte maybe was when they had a fucking catastrophe of a pit stop late. And then you have some short track, P33 at Nashville. That looks like a crash or a mechanical failure. Short track, Bristol. Kansas again, P4. P14 at Homestead, which I know something happened there because I remember that Homestead race. They were running up front early. I know they had to have been running up front early. I'd have to go back and watch and see what actually happened, but I know that many of these finishes are not actually representative of what Caden Honeycutt was capable of in those races. So I think if you want that, I wouldn't even call it a Cinderella. Like, I don't think, I might be insane for saying this, but I don't think Caden Honeycutt should be at 18-1. Do you hear me? Stop it. Hey, stop it. No, you're making it worse. Stop chewing. No. Stop it. Stop chewing. He's got like this nipple that's become huge, and he keeps biting it off. Stop it. Please. Anywho. See what you did? I didn't start recording to play with my dog, aka the crew chief, Rocky, and go back and forth with him. Okay, I came here to do bets. Stop it. Okay. I don't even know where I was. Caden Honeycutt, I don't even think should be 18-1. I think he should be more like 12-1. Now, maybe they're considering the issues that I've talked about. Horrible pit stops, every now and then mechanical failure, which is why, I talk about that matchup I think it's on multiple sports books, maybe DraftKings. I'm looking at it. Can be. Caden Honeycutt is minus 134 to beat Tyler Ankrum. On paper, love it. Talent, love it. Race truck, pretty close. But the issues we talk about, this could be a flip in a late race moment, which is why, like, bet the 18-1 outright. Hell, what is the top three right now? A top three for Honeycutt, 4.5. No, can't do that. Hard Rock, what's the top three? That's one thing I've noticed. Top threes and top fives are kind of brutal this week in trucks. 4.25. No, can't do that. Take the outright 18-1, put a unit on it, and trust the talent and the speed of the race truck is what I expect to shine tonight. And we got to hope to God that the pit crew doesn't fuck everything up. That would be my biggest concern, and why I personally would not bet this in a head-to-head matchup, honestly. So, if you want a good matchup that I've been thinking about betting since this morning when Canby finally dropped odds, and I want to see if this matchup's available anywhere else. I haven't seen it. I'll give you two that I like, but the main one, I really like William Sawalich over Connor Mozak. You know, Connor Mozak has not proven enough to us on ovals. I think William Sawalich has, you know, and I would definitely correlate. I would say the equipment between these two is similar enough. Tricon, winning speed, and then Connor Mozak is in a McAnally truck, winning speed. If you put these guys in similar race trucks, give me William Sawalich all day. That is minus 115 over on Canby. I think Sawalich is going to get better and better and better. You know, yeah, maybe Gibbs signed him because he's got some money. But the dude has actually been successful. He's extremely young, limited experience. He's been much, much better than Connor Mozak since he's gotten into any NASCAR racing. So give me William Sawalich. You know, Mozak's kind of better on the road courses, but on ovals, yeah, give me Sawalich all day. The other matchup I like, I'm not big on Grant Enfinger yet. I told people last night on my live stream that I think Grant Enfinger is kind of a wait and see. You know, he's 12-1 range. I don't think anything crazy happens. He might qualify well, but I don't think he moves lower than 9-1, 10-1 because of the Corey Heim effect. Because I think Ty Majeski's going to qualify well. So, but this particular matchup. Oh, I'm an idiot. Hold on. Wait. Time out. I'm back on Canby. No, I'm right. Sorry. Okay, over on DraftKings, Grant Enfinger versus Daniel Hemrick. Remember, this whole situation with Hemrick. Look, he's been a Cup guy. He won an Xfinity Series championship somehow by the fucking grace of Christ. But this is a different team at McAnally. Their trucks are still going to be good, but the mastermind behind this truck last year with Christian Eckes, they were dominant, won a bunch of races. That guy, Charles Denike, I can never say his last name right. Denike, he is now in the Cup Series. We've got a completely different crew chief, a completely different driver. You know, Grant Enfinger at least has everything he had in 2024. So this is our first test of an intermediate where Grant Enfinger was much better at later in the season than he was early in the season. You know, they started out, they went to Kansas and Vegas here and just did not have much speed. And they got a lot better as the year went on. So I kind of trust Grant Enfinger more in this matchup versus Daniel Hemrick. So another lean there. I don't think I'm going to bet that one. If I do bet a matchup, I think I'd go back to Sawalich over Mozak. Really like that one. That one could be a lock, but we'll see. Final couple bets here. Luke Fenhouse. This is definitely kind of a, I'm not going to call it a shot in the dark, but it is an underdog bet to round us off here for trucks. Luke Fenhouse is another guy. I believe in the talent. You know, in 3 starts, shit, I just closed out FanDuel. In 3 starts last year, 2 top 10s at 2 very different racetracks. Limited action. He raced at Atlanta, got a top 15, showed a few, you know, showed us a little bit. But I'm kind of a believer in this kid coming out here and getting a top 10 tonight. So that's my expectation. He's going to run around the top 10. Maybe you get a little bit of chaos, a late race restart. Maybe some other people make mistakes. Now maybe he's in top 5 consideration. So as a long shot bet, 2 long shot bets, I'm going to take the outright. I did take it already, 125 to 1 over on BetMGM. And then the top 5 is still 14 to 1 on Hard Rock. Took that as well. So there's a little long shot for you that I don't think is going to hit, at least in terms of winning the race. But I think a top 5 could be possible. Every now and then you get these prodigy type of talents that just fly in and become something special. You know, I think about Sam Mayer in I think it was like a sponsorless number 32 truck at Bristol when he won when he was like fucking 8 years old. You know, who's going to be that next guy? That was 5 years ago now, but who's going to be that next kid that just jumps in a truck and owns the field? Or at least has enough speed and enough natural ability that they score like a top 5 or a top 3 or contend for a win. I think there's potential with that with Luke Fenhouse. Don't put the house on it. Don't bet your 401k. All right. Don't be a crypto fuckhead like that you do with these pump and dumps. Spend your retirement fund on a pump and dump. You know, I think this is actually potentially more profitable than all that shit. But Luke Fenhouse, good underdog bet, and that's what I got. So recapping everything I have, Chandler Smith outright. If you can get 5 to 1 or better, put a unit somewhere between a unit and a half on that. Ty Majeski easily worth a unit at 10 to 1 over on FanDuel. Caden Honeycutt 18 to 1 worth a unit over on that line. I kind of didn't talk about it a whole lot. That line's available in multiple places. I see 15 to 1 on BetMGM, 18 to 1 over on FanDuel. The BetMGM is where I got the 18 to 1 and has moved. He's 16 to 1 on Camby, 18 to 1. I think I saw Hard Rock. No, 15 to 1 on Hard Rock. DraftKings 15 to 1. Okay, so go to FanDuel and bet Caden Honeycutt 18 to 1 before that's gone. I'd go 15 to 1 or better at this point, before practice, before qualifying. So give me Caden Honeycutt. And then Luke Fenhouse, underdog bet, 125 to 1 outright, and then 14 to 1 for a top 5. Less than a unit combined on those two. So that's what I have for the Craftsman Truck Series. Stay tuned. It's going to be quick. It's going to be, you know, last minute probably, because the way these books handle the Craftsman Truck Series, it's just extremely neglected. Especially we're in the middle of March Madness. So don't even expect every book to get lines up. Don't expect top 5s. Don't expect top 3s. Expect a late outright selection. You know, if we get lucky, maybe more than just Hard Rock will give us top 3s and top 5s. It'll probably be Hard Rock and DraftKings that give us any type of variety, unless you use Caesars, which is a shit sports book. Scumbags. I don't use Caesars. Go check those out if you want to find out where the lines are and anything else. Now let's move on to Xfinity. I don't have a lot for Xfinity this week. You know, Xfinity, as I mentioned earlier, long green flag runs typically. Nothing crazy. Typically, this is a mile and a half that gets that natural feel. Last year, Austin Hill won here in 2023 after Joe Gibbs with Chandler Smith dominated. 2024, John Hunter Nemechek and Chandler Smith dominated. Fall of 2024, a little bit of a different story, and that's what it's been 2 years in a row. Fall of 2023, Riley Herbst was a fucking machine. I mean, had just an ungodly good race car. I think you guys remember that. And then in fall of 2024, AJ Allmendinger, who I bet on, I think I had 30 to 1, had a great race. Punched his ticket to the championship, won at Vegas, led a bunch of laps. So once again, like we talked about last week, something about spring to fall can kind of bring on some sort of change. I don't know exactly what it is, you know, weather dependent. It could, or I don't know. I think of weather, you know, I think of momentum. I think of, as the season progresses, who's getting better at the right time. That's what it's all about now in today's NASCAR playoff era. But two things that I think are pretty concrete over the past few years. Joe Gibbs Racing and Stewart Haas, which is now Haas Factory Team. I think those two programs, I think, you know, I've been big on Ford this year, and having Sam Mayer throughout has been good and bad. because he's been typically this is what Sam Mayer is. He's a hot shot, very talented, fast race cars, but he also, he goes back and forth. He's like a better Brandon Jones. He'll have speed, he'll go out, he'll win races, run top 5, and the next week he's crashed on lap 6. So this is that one race, that I look at relative to some of these other chaotic tracks we've been to start the year, and I say long green flag runs, not a lot of turmoil, not a lot of chaos. Sam Mayer in a Haas factory team, Ford, I think is going to be one of the guys to beat. I think you're going to have to beat Sam Mayer this weekend. 9-1 on DraftKings. I'm going to pull up some Xfinity stuff. I don't have it. I'm still got everything aimed at trucks. 9-1 on BetMGM. And I know Sam Mayer did not. I think Sam Mayer opened around 14-1, if I'm not mistaken. 12-1 on FanDuel. And just a reminder, I have bet nothings for Xfinity. I'm going to tell you where I'm leaning and what I will probably bet and have out on the Dale Club today or tomorrow, aka Friday or Saturday. 12-1 on Canby. So you do have 10-1 or better options on Sam Mayer on multiple books. He's 10-1 over on Hard Rock. So I'd go to FanDuel again and plug a bet on Sam Mayer. That's where I'd like to start here, because Justin Allgaier, once again, is the favorite. This one I don't get. This one I really don't get. He's led some laps at Vegas, but when you look at Junior Motorsports, man, other than Josh Berry winning here back-to-back years in the fall, 2021 and 2022, Junior Motorsports I don't think has a win here since Mark Martin in 2008. Rocky, stop chewing. See you. Stop it. Stop it. No. Stop chewing. Stop it. God, he must be itching. All right. So Junior Motorsports does not, in my mind, from what I've seen over these past few years, other than Josh Berry, they haven't had the best cars, and they certainly haven't finished. You've got these Gibbs guys and these SHR guys that have been better. And not to mention Austin Hill, who snuck through and won a race for RCR, which typically this is kind of a weak point type of racetrack for RCR. Mile and a half and short tracks is where they probably struggle the most. So Austin Hill snuck through here and won in fall or spring of 2023. Everything else, I think the dominance has been Gibbs and Haas. And I don't expect much different this weekend. Now you're probably thinking, ooh, Eric Almirola. Love Eric Almirola, man. He's been winning us money. I love betting on Eric Almirola personally. What we can't forget is last year we all hammered Almirola, and he came out here and laid a fucking egg at Vegas. So I'm not betting on Almirola until I see some sort of long run speed in practice, or good track position to start out. Hopefully both. Because they came out here in Vegas and were a complete non-factor the entire race, start to finish. So Eric Almirola, both him and Allgaier, I'm gonna pump the brakes, big time, and I'm gonna look towards the Haas guys. I did say Gibbs, right? Joe Gibbs Racing, I think is gonna be a factor. Maybe you go in the direction of, I don't know, maybe something on maybe a Taylor Gray, who's around 20-1. I see 18-1 on FanDuel. He's right there with Brandon Jones, 18-1, 19-1. Remember, Brandon Jones, typically, he wasn't last week, and he ended up finishing top 3. Typically a good qualifier. Maybe Brandon Jones, if you can get something as close to 20-1 as possible, qualifies up front, now you're looking at a better ticket. I do think Brandon Jones, like I said last week, and I told you guys, it may not have cashed anything unless you kind of went in another direction with what you bet on Jones, because I only had the outright ticket. Kind of showed us Joe Gibbs Racing Brandon Jones is completely different from the Junior Motorsports Brandon Jones that we've seen. And yeah, he might still have fuck ups and crash, make mistakes, but he just has better speed. He's just a better driver. He's a better everything. So Brandon Jones could be worth a look. Me personally, Sam Mayer is my biggest play here. And, Sheldon Creed at 9-1, I think is a little overpriced. That's the best I see, but that's another guy I could see coming out here qualifying on the pole. And that's what Sheldon did a bunch last year. He qualified up front. As soon as the green flag dropped, he dropped. So that would be my concern with Sheldon. 9-1, 8-1 range. I just think it's too expensive. I don't think that's going to have, for a guy that still hasn't won an Xfinity race and he's on year 4. The books they fucking obsess with Allgaier every week now. And then you have a former Cup guy with Almirola. I don't think Sheldon Creed is a big CLV play. Like, I don't think you're going to get, I think he's going to be around 8-1 range before green flag, no matter what happens. So sticking with the Ford camp, Ryan Sieg. Ryan Sieg had the card to beat Allmendinger here last fall. If there's a guy that was going to beat him, I think it was going to be Ryan Sieg. And came up just short. I think Sieg had actually taken the lead in the waning laps, and then a caution came out, and his car was just so good on the long run. Gotta wonder about Ryan Sieg. Books were prepared here, or at least people fucking hammered him, depending on where he opened at. I'm seeing 12-1, 14-1, 19-1 on FanDuel. 19-1 on FanDuel could be worth something. I don't expect them to knock anyone's socks off in qualifying. Maybe they qualify around the top 10. I think you could probably wait on betting on Ryan Sieg. But if you want to bet on Sieg, who's basically a Haas car, 19-1 on FanDuel is the best that I've seen. So once again, I feel like Dale Center. God, it's been all about the Fords, hasn't it? It's been all about the Fords when it comes to Xfinity. I'm sticking with that department this weekend. One more lean back on Joe Gibbs Racing. Maybe someone like William Sawalich could be worth a couple plays in a Gibbs car. I talked highly about him. He's running the truck race. Man, he's plus 140 for a top 10. I was hoping we'd get something a little bit better than that. But that's what we got. Maybe Sawalich for a top 5. Shit, 5.5-1. I was thinking maybe on Hard Rock they'd have something a little more closer to 10-1. But his outright is maybe this is a breakthrough guy. 40-1. 40-1 for William Sawalich. So, maybe I lean, on these Gibbs guys, some of the underdog plays. Maybe we go back to Brandon Jones. Taylor Gray has definitely been, he's had some issues, but his car's been good and he's been pretty fast. He's had some good speed. So maybe a Taylor Gray, maybe a Brandon Jones, maybe a William Sawalich. Those are on the back end of what I'm leaning towards. On the front end of what I'm leaning towards, Sam Mayer outright is definitely feels like that's going to be an emphasis play. Even a top 3 plus 260 on DraftKings. See what Hard Rock has. Plus money top, that could be a lock for me. It could be a lock for me. A plus money top 5. And for a top 3, looking at Hard Rock at 3-1. What does Canby have? 3-1. So you got a 3-1 top 3 available on multiple books. Another good voice crack. So I really, really like Sam Mayer this weekend, leading in, and everything else is kind of on the, I'd like to see some lap averages. Lap averages and Xfinity tell the story extremely well on who's got speed and who doesn't. So let's wait on just about everything. Check out lap averages, see who's got speed, see who doesn't. But if you want leans early, I lean, if I out the gate who I think is going to win this race, it's going to be a Haas car or a Gibbs car, and I'm fading Allgaier, and I'm fading Almirola before we hit the track because of how terrible he was here last year. So that's what I got in Xfinity. I think Sam Mayer is going to win. If you want a race winning pick, Sam Mayer all fucking day. I'm looking at these matchups pretty hard right now. Nah. When in doubt, don't. Good betting phrase. When in doubt, don't. Eckes versus Sanchez. You know, that's another guy. Remember, Colleague won. You know, I didn't even. Colleague came here and won last fall with Allmendinger. Look, AJ Allmendinger is a phenom in just the motorsports world. But Christian Eckes is a guy we expect to be fucking good, right? Eckes for a top 3. See, this is okay. We're gonna add one more here. Christian Eckes. Oh my God. Okay, this is crazy. Something has definitely happened on someone hammering this guy, because he is 16-1 outright on BetMGM, 32-1 on FanDuel, 30-1 on Canby. What the fuck? That's crazy. Something big has happened there. What is he on DraftKings? 28-1. Eckes could be a play this weekend, guys. If you can get a, let's see what the top 5 is. 4.25 plus 425 on Hard Rock. Man, I'm gonna think about that one. I really like that. I think Eckes is a good underdog play. You think Colleague, who's come here, this has probably been Colleague's best mile and a half. Chandler Smith should have won here spring of 2023. Allmendinger won here fall of 2024. This is probably their better intermediate. You know, the more I think about it, Allmendinger won here in 2021. Yeah. Maybe we ride with Christian Eckes. I'm gonna think about that one. 8-1 top 3. I really fucking like that a lot. And then a 4-1 top 5. We're high on this guy. We are high on this guy. At a track, this is a good opportunity actually, because the more I think about this, at a track where Junior Motorsports just doesn't have it, and then you have a lot of youth there. At a track where Eric Almirola potentially can struggle. At a track with uncertainty in the Gibbs camp with all this youth there. You know, Christian Eckes, we call it youth. This dude's been in the Truck Series for a long time. Christian Eckes has run a lot of laps. I mean, a lot of laps over the years. This dude is no youthful, young, teenage, early 20s type of rookie. You know, Christian Eckes, you know, for a while, I thought he was going to go on the Ben Rhodes route, the Matt Crafton route. And now he's here. Yeah, we're betting that. We're fucking betting that. All right, be ready for that one. Christian Eckes, as soon as I get this up, I'm going to bet Christian Eckes along with Sam Mayer. And then everything else, we're going to wait and see. That's what I got for Xfinity. Let's move to the NASCAR Cup Series, the Pennzoil 400 at Las Vegas Motor Speedway, as you see behind me. Lines at the bottom of your screen, courtesy of DraftKings Sportsbook. That doesn't mean they have the best lines, because they sure as fuck don't most of the time, respectfully. But I have bet a few drivers leading into the weekend. There has been some significant line movement in a few areas, but let's start with Tyler Reddick. I got 10-1 on FanDuel. That's gone forever, because I think he's going to qualify well. If he qualifies in the top 10, if he qualifies in the top 5, I don't think you're going to see 10-1 again. Reddick has been good here. He wrecked and flipped over last fall, but you know, last spring he was the only guy that could. Kyle Busch was really good too, but Reddick could kind of sort of run with Kyle Larson, and I think he finished second. But you know, Larson's been unbelievable here. I always like to just wait and see on Kyle Larson, regardless. But you know, I think that Tyler Reddick is a guy that could come out here and win. I can't believe FanDuel left him at 10-1. 6.5-1's tough. I don't know if I could bet that now, but he's 6-1 on BetMGM, 7-1 on DraftKings. Maybe I could plug that. $6-1 on Canby, and then Hard Rock. Plus 575. That's tough. That's a tough one. That's a tough one for me to talk about, because I got the line that, yeah, and I'm sure some of you guys did too if you followed me on the Dale Club. Remember, that link is below where all my NASCAR bets are posted. But you know, if you follow that, I'm sure other people probably bet them too. It just, that was the only thing that really stuck out with the Red Dog. I'm going to keep it simple there. Tyler Reddick's going to be a factor. There's no question in my mind. 23-11, their bread and butter, even though they've had a few duds, their bread and butter has been on the mile and a half with him and Bubba Wallace both. They've had winning speed at tracks just like this one behind me. You know, they've outrun Hendrick cars. They've outrun Gibbs cars. Give me Tyler Reddick all day long. 7-1, I think I could live with. I think I could live with 7-1 because there is a chance, which I want to look at the qualifying groups here one more time. Qualifying groups are more important than ever last night. I looked at this last night on my live stream and was explaining to people why betting on qualifying sucks in 2025. It absolutely sucks. Bob Pockers, where you at? So Canby has qualifying odds. All right, qualifying order. Where's Reddick at? Reddick just goes too early to get the pole. So Canby has qualifying odds. You know, on this topic real quick, if you go look at Canby, I'm sure Caesars is a fucking million times worse, but Christopher Bell, Kyle Larson, Logano, Reddick, Byron, Blaney are your top 6 favorites. Well, guys, first off, if you bet on Ryan Blaney, you are a sucker. Sucker. Ryan Blaney goes out 15th of 36 drivers. Remember, there's no second group anymore. There is no second group. Or second round, sorry. There's no second round of qualifying anymore. So basically, I'm at a point where, you know, got to check the weather. I hate to say that, but you kind of got to check the weather and see, hey, is there potential for a drastic weather change that would allow somebody early in the qualifying session to put down a lap, and then you have a dramatic weather change by the end of it where someone who goes out last doesn't have an advantage and doesn't win the pole. Until that happens, we're screwed because the final 4 drivers to go out at Vegas tomorrow, the final 4 drivers to go out on track, Kyle Larson, William Byron, Denny Hamlin, Christopher Bell. We know what kind of role Christopher Bell's been on. He won the pole here last fall. He should have won the race. He's had ridiculous speed here as of recent. Bell is a favorite. Larson's a co-favorite. And then Byron is 6-1. So I guess if you did want one bet there, take William Byron to go back-to-back. He's going out basically next to last. Denny Hamlin's 14-1. Maybe take him. But my point here, I'm just going to have to sit out qualifying more and more because we have a metric score instead of it being a random draw like it's been in the past. It's a metric score to determine who goes out when, and that metric score is based upon the prior race. So if you're like, someone asked me about Carson Hocevar, who's 18-1 to win the pole. He's going out 5th. He's got no shot. Blaney's going out 15th of 36. He's got no shot. Going out late is most of the time a big time advantage in qualifying. So I think your cutoff here is from, if you're looking at Bob Pockrass's qualifying order list, Ross Chastain is going out 26th. I think anyone on that, Chastain to the bottom. So this is Ross, Joey, Logano, Barry, Elliott, Busch, Bowman, Buescher, Larson, Byron, Hamlin, Bell. I don't think anybody outside those guys is going to win the pole based on the draw, based on this metric score that determines where you qualify. You go out late, typically you're going to have an advantage. So I kind of wanted to go there real quick to kind of give you guys an idea. Qualifying, not just from the format, but from a betting standpoint, is a complete fucking 180 from last year, which is really disappointing because, I had 21 Cup qualifying betting cards last year. I hit the pole in 14 of them. And many of those times, the guy that I hit to win the pole may not have had the best lap in round 1. Then they go to round 2 and they run another lap, and sometimes things change. So now with a more straight cut, simple format, it waters everything down on the sportsbook side of things too, because once they catch on, once they see that Ryan Blaney's going to qualify fucking 15th, and Briscoe, who's 18-1, he's going out like 3rd or 4th. Once they see that him and Briscoe and Hocevar qualify outside the top 10, they're going to make adjustments to make this shitty for everybody. Once they figure out that going out late is what's going to be winning the poll, the odds could be even worse than what they are now. So if I wanted to give you more poll bets, which the 2 times I have given you guys poll bets here and didn't bet them myself, they have won. So let's do it one more time because I like helping you guys out. It's just such high risk is the problem for me personally. If I wanted to give you some poll bets, William Byron 6-1. I don't know how you can't bet that. He won the poll here last year, got a fucking garbage bag stuck on the grill, went to the back, drove back, got a top 10. But for qualifying purposes, 6-1 on Byron. I'd go 3-1 on Bell, 14-1 on Hamlin. And that's probably it. You know, I like betting Reddick and Bubba in qualifying on these racetracks, but once again, Bubba's going out 12th, Reddick's going out 23rd. I just don't think they have a shot. So, just some qualifying advice there. I'd take Bell, I'd take Byron, and I'd take Hamlin. Now, maybe you don't want to put all your eggs in one basket. Maybe you think someone else could win this poll. You know, maybe a little further up. Maybe Josh Berry. He's close. He's in that final 10 range, 30-1. Chastain, 20-1. You could build a card out of this. Hammer 3 favorites, 2 underdog bets. But I'm telling you, unless an underdog like a Berry or a Chastain wins the poll, which I don't think they will, we're going to see qualifying odds get severely worse throughout 2025. That's what I think is going to happen. Anyway, let's talk more about the race. I kind of went off on a tangent, which I think is necessary because we're talking about Tyler Reddick. I got Reddick 10-1. I think he's going to qualify okay. You know, I said earlier he's going to qualify well. Then I realized he's going out 15th or whatever. So, you know, maybe you could see 10-1 again if he doesn't qualify super well. So maybe put Reddick in the back pocket. But 10-1, I mean, I think if you see 8-1 or better for Tyler Reddick, you got to bet it. He's going to be a factor. This is exactly his bread and butter. I think he's going to be right up there with Larson and Bell if there's no incident-related issues. Next up, I'm on his teammate as well, Bubba Wallace. FanDuel 33-1, I think is acceptable. Bubba has been good enough here. And on these type of racetracks, it warrants a small bet. I don't think you're going to see Bubba better than 40-1 before green flag. 35-1 range is fine. I'd bet Bubba Wallace down to 30-1 because I think he's going to have a good run this weekend. Now, final bet that I have is Ross Chastain. I actually skipped Chastain. 24-1 is still available. This has been a spectacular racetrack for Ross Chastain. And I'm really going to try not to let what happened last week, my lock of the universe, Chastain top 10. I'm going to try to not let that loss fuck me up here. I'm going to try because Chastain, I'm going to just pull up driver averages real quick. Since 2022, he's got an average finish of 5.5. He's got 4 top 5s and 5 top 10s. All 6 of his races, he's finished in the top 20. He gave up the windfall of 2022 to Joey Logano. He's got 2 top 3s. He's won a stage. The guy leads laps. I mean, well, here's the thing. Most of those laps led were in 2022 when the Gen 7 was brand new. Let's make sure we're clear on that. But he's still run well. Last 3 finishes here, 5th, 4th, 7th. And his one that was outside the top 10, he ran in the top 10 all day long. So Ross Chastain, 24-1, I think is worth a shot. You know, I think the top 10 worth a shot. That top 10 price is right around where I bet it last week, and he finished fucking 11th. Like I said, it is what it is. He's minus 120 on FanDuel for a top 10. Let's see what he is everywhere for you guys. Minus 120 on FanDuel, minus 129 over on Canby. BetMGM. What is this? What the fuck? Oh. What? It just says finishing position. Doesn't. That's got to be. Nope. That's got to be top 5. Okay, this is like a glitch or something. Let me look at my phone. BetMGM. I'll look at Hard Rock while I'm pulling this up on my phone. But on Hard Rock, Chastain for a top 10, minus 120. I'm going to guess BetMGM is going to be right there too. Now that line has moved a little bit. I'm pretty sure I saw plus 110 earlier in the week. Okay, BetMGM is just bugged out because it just says finishing position. It doesn't give me top 3, top 5, or top 10. Anyway, I think a fringe even money top 10 bet on Chastain could be worth it. I think this has been a good enough track for him that he's gonna have a good run. I'll check DraftKings. Minus 140. Don't bet it there. Another guy for a top 10 that I'd think about is Alex Bowman. He's been great here. Remember, he won here spring of 2022. Probably shouldn't have won that race, but he's even money for a top 10 over on FanDuel. And when I go back and I look at these driver averages, Alex Bowman is 10th in driver averages. Average finish of 12.4 since spring of 2022. 3 top 10s and 5 starts, 3 top 5s, and that win that I just mentioned. So this has been a pretty good track for Alex Bowman. I think a plus money top 10 would be good. You could probably, typically not a good qualifier no matter where he goes out. So maybe you can wait post practice, post qualifying to bet that. That's up to you, but that's a good lean in my mind. Maybe his outright as well. You know, his outright's sitting around 25 to 1, 30 to 1 range. See 25 to 1 or 28 to 1 on BetMGM, or 25 to 1 on BetMGM, 28 to 1 on FanDuel. And then I see 22 to 1 on DraftKings. Bowman could be worth a bet this weekend. You know, I think there's a lot of talk about Ty Gibbs. I just can't do anything with this guy until I see something. Clearly, this has been a completely different start to the season. You got a different crew chief. Something's off. I don't think I'm going to bet anything on Ty Gibbs yet. Another top 10 consideration is Bubba Wallace. Another guy that's right around even money over on FanDuel, minus 106, plus 135 on DraftKings. Very good line. Bubba Wallace, top 10. Actually, no, that was Canby. Let's see. Top 10 on FanDuel for Bubba is plus 125. So maybe some leans. A Bowman top 10, a Chastain top 10, and a Bubba Wallace top 10, along with those 3 outrights. I think with Larson and Bell, you're just, the best I've seen is 4 to 1 for these guys outright. Actually, Bell's 6 to 1 on FanDuel. Larson's plus 450. That is, I think that's had some movement. Why is Bell going backwards? This would be 4 wins in a row. Can he do it? Absolutely. Vegas is similar to Phoenix for Christopher Bell. Knocking on the door, led a bunch of laps, been in a potential winning position, and it just didn't happen. Phoenix, that went out the door last week. He fucking got it done. Barely, but he did. And when you look at last fall, he was the guy to beat. So I would not be surprised. I think 6 to 1 is something that maybe I'm going to bet that to just get it off my chest, you know. Otherwise, this 3 to 1, 4 to 1 shit, which is, I don't see 3 to 1. 4 to 1 is still pretty expensive, even for Kyle Larson, but 5 to 1 on DraftKings for Larson. And this is where I'm kind of struggling, because part of me does want to just bet these favorites and just heading into the weekend with a Larson ticket, a Bell ticket. They're going at the end of qualifying. They're probably going to qualify up front. Very tough, especially with what I've talked about multiple times. The Cup race, Xfinity race. If you get long, natural green flag runs at this racetrack, you're going to see Bell, you're going to see Larson, and you're going to see Reddick up at the front. That's what it's going to be. So I would not blame you if you bet those already. But for the most part, I like to see the track time. We don't have a fucking option tire. We actually have a good enough reason to wait this weekend because I think lap averages for this first time all year will tell the story, and Cup and Xfinity. So I think you're going to have a more natural, traditional NASCAR weekend ahead at Las Vegas. So I think for the most part, you wait, other than what I told you, those leans that I like. And then, you know, one guy I got to mention, Kyle Busch. You know, I was hoping he would be around 30-1. But the books, I mean, there's an obvious realization of how good he was last spring. I think had a potential winning car, definitely ran around the top 3 most of the day, and then he had a crazy pit road penalty that should not have been a penalty, and it costed him a shot at the win when he was kind of running with Larson and Bell most of the day. Anyway, DraftKings, he's 12-1. Everywhere else, he's around 18-1. I've been thinking about him too. I think it's another position, another situation where maybe you can wait. Maybe you could wait on Kyle Busch before practice or after practice and qualifying. So to recap what I have, I've got a Reddick outright ticket, a Bubba outright ticket, and a Chastain outright ticket. When I'm leaning towards maybe a KFB outright ticket, a Wallace top 10, a Bowman top 10, or a Chastain top 10, I think are all potentially really good plays. So we'll find out. Truck race is my focus for now. Xfinity, we'll see what happens in practice. Cup, we'll see what happens in practice. But trucks, be on the lookout. It's going to be a frantic day getting everything in before the green flag tonight, which is actually a late one, which helps us out. It's like 9 o'clock Eastern, which is insane. But truck race on Friday, Xfinity on Saturday, Cup on Sunday. Going to be a fun weekend, and we're going to have a bounce back. So thank you for tuning in. This went over an hour. Shit. Once again, join us on the Dale Club over on Dub Club. I've partnered with them for all of 2025 to deliver winning NASCAR bets. Kind of an up and down start to the season, but we've been much worse, and I believe in my process. I believe in everything that I've done over the past 5 years to consistently secure profitable NASCAR betting seasons, and we're going to make that happen again. So join us in the Dale Club. Subscribe today. Join us over on Grid Rival in our season-long NASCAR Fantasy League, $1,000 prize package at the end of the year to the winner, and try out the Pick'ems game, the Picks game, I should say. Use promo code Dale when depositing to get a 100% deposit matching bonus up to $100. Very fun game. Grid Rival's got a lot going on, a lot of good things going on, so check them out. That link is below as well. Join the Discord. Follow me at Dale Tanhart. Everywhere on social media, and we're gonna have a good weekend. I can feel it. I think it's gonna be a good weekend of racing. I think it's our first true weekend of good natural racing, no crazy variables for the Cup race. Xfinity's always good, and then I think the trucks are gonna put on a show tonight, and it wouldn't be a long-winded 1 hour episode without one more voice crack that you just fucking heard. So thanks, guys. Enjoy the weekend. Stay tuned for all the bets. Keep an eye on practice. Evaluate the data. And come back to us, and we'll help you out, and we'll try to win some money. So thanks, enjoy the weekend, and I will see you guys soon.